Do you guys remember last year when there was all that controversy surrounding Riot Games, specifically where there were 2 female employees who claimed that there was sexism running throughout the company, which actually, of course, brought Riot under a lot of fire and actually ended up in an employee walkout because, well, it's 2019, Riot is apparently going to be dishing out over $10 million, at least $10 million, to females who have been employed by Riot for the past 5 years. It all started back in August of last year when Kotaku reporter Cecilia De Anastasio, and I really hope I pronounced that right, but she came out with an article that contained stories of employees at Riot Games, but many of them were stories from females that worked there, and a lot of those same females were able to attest to what others had said, that sexual discrimination was running rampant within the company. And it was actually a pretty long read. That article was by no means short, but it's okay because it was an interesting one, and it was a good one, and it was something new, I guess, because it was an article that came out about Riot and sexism, and Riot is generally, for the most part, loved by most of their consumers. And for something to come out like this was kind of crazy because no one really expected anything like this from Riot. Though I guess you can never really expect anything like this at all, but it was starting to become a serious issue because you've got these perfectly qualified and capable women who were not being hired at Riot, and you've got also perfectly qualified and capable women who are possessing great leadership skills that are not, getting promoted through Riot, advancing through the ranks and all that stuff. And then, well, you've also got unsolicited eggplant pictures being sent to other females and Riot employees as well. And eventually, 2 of their employees filed lawsuits for wrongful termination and sexual harassment, but Riot didn't quite like that, so they tried to force those 2 cases into arbitration, which is basically to settle your issues without court, because Riot did not want a lawsuit for sexual harassment on their hands. So what started out as only 2 women basically just expressing their issues with Riot through court, of course, because they were trying to sue them for wrongfully doing them, but that actually ended up turning into an employee walkout. So over 150 Riot employees actually ended up walking out off of the Riot campus and protesting Riot, clearly because they did not like the fact that their 2 fellow employees were getting wrongfully done and that they were trying to force arbitration for something as serious as a sexual harassment case, which, when you think about it, is kind of ridiculous in the first place, because why would you even be able to do that? But that's actually going to get changed because California is making it illegal in 2020 to sign an arbitration agreement. All that was in the past last year, like I said, and things haven't entirely calmed down, but they've apparently gotten a lot better because a settlement from that lawsuit would make it so that roughly about 1,000 women that were working for Riot from November 2014 to whatever the specified date on that settlement is, because it's not actually confirmed yet, but it's probably going to be something within the time frame of this year or last year. Roughly 1,000 women that were working for Riot during that time are going to be compensated with $10 million. And I'm not saying like $10 million to each person or anything. The way I think of it is more like a prize pool, where it's like, well, basically they have it so that the longer you've been working at Riot, so the more seniority you have, I guess. I don't know if it's based on seniority, if it's more just like things that you've witnessed. But the longer you've been at Riot, the more you will get paid if you're a female and you worked during that time frame. So if you worked before November 2014 and then after whatever the specified date is, because like I said, we don't know it yet, you will be receiving a lot of money from Riot. So that's pretty sweet. And I'm going to be honest, part of me was really critical about this settlement at first because I was thinking to myself and I was like, dude, if I was at work and I was sexually harassed, obviously depending on how serious it is and like what exactly happened, I don't know if I'd be cool with just getting a bunch of money in return for whatever happened to me, because obviously these things can be extremely serious, they can be very traumatizing, and they can kind of ruin the rest of your life depending on how serious it is. So I'm thinking, like, would I be okay with, them just giving me like $1 million in exchange for whatever the heck happened? And I'm thinking, knowing me, I probably would be okay with it because that's just who I am, and I'm, yeah. But I'm wondering what you guys think. Like, how would this affect you? Would you be okay with Riot saying, hey, here's $2 million, just forget about what happened? Because it is a settlement. They're settling on it's essentially an agreement in that lawsuit. So would you guys be okay if Riot just handed you a bunch of money in exchange for some possibly traumatic event that happened to you in the past? Let me know. I'm interested because, I like debate in the YouTube comment section because, one, I believe it can be comedic, but also kind of a learning experience. So shoot what you guys got at me. Anyway, that is all for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. We will have videos coming out every day. Every day. That's it. Just stay tuned every freaking day. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.